welcome. Happy Wednesday, Lottie Dottie, and everybody. I am Latanya Taylor, affectionately known as the Rev Coach, the Juicy Spirit Mama, the Priestess of Purpose, Pleasure, Passion, and Profits. And we come together on Wednesdays for either Tribe Talk or Shift Talk. So we're still Tribe Talking as we get together our schedule for the new Shift Talk series, which I hope to announce soon. If you're watching on Instagram, please join us on YouTube at Rebirth with LaTanya. So I am excited today to join you on a new moon day, right? Today is the new moon in Aquarius. What's up, Dana? Dana is the assistant minister for the Rebirth International Ministries that meets every first Sunday. We'll be meeting on the first Sunday for February. Join us and allow us to hold space for you, a safe space for you. So today is an Aquarius new moon. I do want to acknowledge that because I want all the rebirth women in my community to make sure that you already know, if you are in the community, you've been getting a heads up that this is the time where we become the priestess of our own households and we create rituals that align with the desires of our hearts, or we just bring our vibration up to match the intentionality of whatever the energy is that can serve us. This particular new moon is coinciding with the Chinese New Year of the snake, which means that it's making a turning point. See, we know that the true new year is in March. So we're loading. I say goddesses, get in position for springtime. And so there has been so much going on. Every prayer call that I have been on, every private call, every private process that we've been in, I have been really advising, listen, do not give your energy to just anything and anybody. Don't do it. As you can see, every day people are getting upset about something without reading, without knowing the context. And let's just talk about civics. There are a lot of terms that are being used in law that many of us do not study. But anyway, I'm not here for that. We'll include that in the Shift Talk series if you feel like it's something that we need to talk about more of, with all the things that are going on around DEI and women, and considering that it was 92% Black women or women who categorize themselves as Black who were really standing in for another outcome. So that being said, right now, this is a refreshing energy. First of all, Aquarius is the divine disruptor. If you're an Aquarius, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, nobody tell you anything. You're going to do things your way, and you always see another way for things to be done, which makes your leadership a spiritual leadership, an intuitive leadership, creative leadership, because Aquarius energy thinks outside the box, but it thinks outside the box on behalf of humanity. Now, those of us who have been talking to you since 2020, we told you that this period was coming. You know that there's a scripture that says, they that suffer for a little while. Some of you all could throw some scriptures in the chat. They that are labor and heavily labored, huh? Come on. There is the travailing in the spirit type of scripture. Some of us are travailing in the spirit, and some of us are getting ready for the Jubilee. What is the distinction between our mindset, those of us who see Jubilee and those of us who see wailing? Well, it depends on your identity. And so today we're going to go into identity, but hey, you know, I always like talking about the planets, Astro Talk here. And I've been doing planning with the planets with IVTV, which we're taking a little break from that now, but I will announce when that returns and how you may be able to be involved. But this particular new moon is urging us to shed the old skin. You cannot put new wine in old wineskin. And some of us are still trying to cram old wine in new wineskin. And so what is happening? A paradigm shift is happening. And but the mindset is not necessarily matching. No, and people aren't asking any questions. Hey, Janelle, welcome, my love. Janelle is a juicy butterfly that just did a beautiful session with young ladies, young girls, teaching etiquette. And I have to say, but I have something to show you. I want to be quiet real quick because I want to move through this. I have to say, honey, we do need etiquette classes. I was in a room full of executive women. Let's just say that. I won't put numbers on it. And there was 3 courses of a meal. And I watched these executive women who did not know how to use certain silverware. I saw someone you take a serving spoon and put it in the dessert tray. Okay. So we need you, Janelle. We need women who are teaching young girls this type of skill. Okay. We need this. And if you don't know, sis, if you're looking to expand your territory and grow your affluence, you may be invited into rooms you've never been in. And when you come into those rooms, do you know how the decorum of the room? Okay. All right. So let me keep going. Aquarius energy is on the planet. Okay. This is the new moon. It reminds us to trust, to lean into new possibilities because it's the new moon. This is not about release. This is about calling forward. So to that end, on the note of the divine feminine, and hey Sabrina, Dr. Tina, hey y'all, how y'all doing? Join me on my YouTube channel. Please come over to YouTube, Rebirth with Latanya, and subscribe and just join the conversation. I would like to present to you a private conversation. You all know that sometimes I'm invited into some of these other rooms, and there are women who sometimes they're not on the internet like that, and they're not going to have certain conversations online. And so, as a result of being in one of those rooms, room, we ran out of time. It got so good, and ironically, we were in the room together on the day that Pluto stationed in Aquarius. And so the conversation level was so high in the room. And I even came out in the room. I told them, we were talking about code shifting. And I told my sisters, I said, sometimes I code shift for sisters and women like you, because many of you are afraid of spiritual things because of religious programming. And so I edit myself. So code switching is not just for corporate America. There are spiritualists who code switch. There are seers who code switch. There are gifted ones. When you go into the room, everybody doesn't know what you're walking with. And many of us have walked because we've been masters of code switching. But baby, when you walk into a room where you do not have to code switch because you are amongst like minds and like spirits who are executives, who are change agents, who are teachers, healers, but they're showing up in the boardroom, in the hospital. They are making decisions on boards. There are people who love this spiritual work. Okay. And we're in a season, in this Aquarius season, where it's okay. In fact, it is the only tool that's going to keep us sane. So to that end, I would like to share with you the conversation. Would you like to join the conversation? Talk to me and let me know if you want to join in the conversation with one of my nieces. And so I want to pull you into the conversation and let you you aunties and other nieces tell me how you feel and what you think.
Hey guys. So happy Thursday. I don't have a fancy intro because y'all, this is a private party. Okay. This is an intimate conversation, an invite only intimate conversation with the one and only Latanya Taylor. Now, Latanya told me stop calling me auntie because these people need to put some respect on my name. They need to know who is sitting in front of them. So I will not stop calling you auntie, but I do want to make sure we do put some respect on your name, because one of the main reasons why I even wanted to do this is because even though when we got together at the dinner and dialogue, it was such a powerful event, I do not feel that we did our conversation. Not that we didn't do it justice, because I know that what was meant to come out did, but I think that there was so much more. And I don't necessarily feel like you got a proper introduction. Not only that, the other reason that I wanted to do this, I have probably hit you up several times because so many people have reached out to me. Like, who was that? Send me her number. You don't even know how many people ask me for your phone number. I'm like, yeah, I'm not giving this lady's, I'm not giving you all her phone number. Okay. But I said I would do this for anybody who was curious and interested, and had questions and wanted to know a little bit more about you. So before we jump into it, please give yourself a proper introduction.
Well, I'm Latanya Taylor, and recently the Reverend Dr. Latanya Taylor, affectionately known as the Rev Coach, the Juicy Spirit Mama, the Priestess of Purpose, Pleasure, Passion, and Profits. And I am a transformational psychology educator. I am I've been running a ministry that I call it a women's ministry, right? Or a marketplace ministry. And I see it as a ministry because it's really helping women to discover the, their unique signature for their feminine leadership, in love, sex, money. And I believe that all of those roads are open through a woman rebirthing herself. Now, that's the short version of, of the different roads that I've traveled, but people don't want to hear all that. You can go read that on my bio.
Read it on the bio. But what I want them to get though is how multifaceted you are, which I try to tap into every time I have a conversation with you, because I think, especially today, with today's woman, I feel like today's modern day woman is on a journey to try to figure out, how can I be all of these things? Because what I know now doesn't necessarily align with what I was taught, and
Yep.
what I was trained to believe. It feels a little funny to me, and I'm starting to, I think we're feeling like we're on that journey of discovery, but it's kind of taboo still, which is crazy that it's still taboo to feel like you can encompass all of these different belief systems, or really create your own belief system from, these different places and your different experiences. So I would love for you to talk a little bit about, for starters, how it's, excuse me, how it's possible to even be a multifaceted woman, because to have like traditional church background, to have the Black Panther, mission. Not did I mean Black Panther? Did I mean Black Panther?
No, probably the
Revolutionary
Nation of Islam.
Nation of Islam is what I meant. Thank you. Help me out. But to have all of those different sectors, and then what you're doing now, how are you able to do all of that for the woman who feels like she's multifaceted too, but she doesn't necessarily fit in?
You know what? That's a good question. And I love you for that because you ask good questions. And I don't like really talking about myself. And then, of course, if somebody else doesn't do it properly, you like, okay, what's up? So I'm finding my balance with that. But I do feel like I was called to be spiritually multilingual. And I do believe that a lot of women who are attracted to me are also multi-purposed. Even if you're not spiritually multilingual, we are taught that we are supposed to have a niche, for instance, in business. And that comes from a patriarchal way of business. We're taught that we're supposed to have one love. We're supposed to we're taught this one method, but we are all very multifaceted. I just think that I'm rebellious enough and daring enough to study, and push my edges and my limitations. Um, the Bible says, study and show thyself approved. It didn't say that you're supposed to go and just get a degree and that's your approval, or that you're only supposed to learn from someone else. It says, study and show thyself. And so, how do you show yourself? You got to have experiences with things. So I do believe also, because I deal with the astrology and personality typing, I also think that there's a calling to that you're called to be that, right? That's not necessarily for every woman. Some women have to be fixed and have to be conservative, and because maybe that is where they do best. But the thing is, at least study yourself to see what is best for you. So being multifaceted is truly who I am. I don't like being put in a box. But I do think that the collective consciousness of womanhood is awakening too, and they're starting not to just be defined by the boxes, because when we check the boxes, what then life still happens. When we check the boxes, it doesn't take away the depression, the questions, the bumping into things that you weren't prepared for, because maybe your mother or where you came from, was they weren't multifaceted. So where do you get it from? If you don't come from a family that's multifaceted, how do you get it? And if you are handcuffed by trying to please everybody and to fit into these mores and cultural systems that we come from, then it's like dying a slow death, in my opinion. I mean, from what I see and what I hear all the time, and I'm talking about high level people that we admire, from first ladies to actresses to entertainers. um I cannot tell you how many shows that we could not do on Fix My Life, just because it was so layered and involved so many high exposing what we're seeing now, what's being exposed now. We couldn't do those shows because of the legal ramifications of exposing a whole ring of control. Many of us come from families like that. You may not have the notoriety. So I think that we're in a season now where it's by design, and it's also by it's safe to to ask some questions, to have some experiences. And the other thing that you and I talk about privately is we've all been lied to. So you can erase everything I just said and say we've all been lied to. Everything that we've been taught is bad, most likely is good, and everything we've been taught is good, it's not so good. So you got to question, you got to ask those questions to see, um because mother is everything. The mother, the woman is multifaceted. We're the one. Look at us, most of us can multitask, and if you have a man in your life, you know that that throws him off. We're multitasking, do this same time, got something on the stove, got a load of clothes in the wash machine, and studying for a test. Not a man.
Brain ain't wired like that. So to your point of most of us have been taught to survive in this patriarchal society, because that has been the case, that is how this country was established. That is what our parents were taught. So they raised us, with that same model. So how do you now try to tap into this divine feminine when all you have been taught and how your brain is literally operating is based on fitting into something that you don't even know is wrong? It's what we have normalized. So what's the first step, I guess? Is it admitting you have a problem like rehab?
Yeah, kinda. I would say also looking at what are you craving? What are you craving? What are you meaning? What are you desiring? And I always say to women, your desires are not too big for you. And they say, what do we say now? We listen, we don't judge. But can we listen to ourselves at a deeper level? Because that answer is coming from the inside. It could be, when I first started teaching Juicy, a lot of women would come to me because they wanted to have more orgasms, to be straight up. They wanted to be more orgasmic, or they wanted to be attractive enough to attract a mate. And then when they got in to start doing the work, they discovered that it wasn't just about a technique. Because I could teach techniques all day. It wasn't just about how you insert the yoni egg or work with the yoni egg. It is, but it's not, it doesn't stop there, right? And so that's how Juicy began to evolve, because women would come in, they had a desire, and everything that was blocking them and having their desire was not about a technique. It usually was deep. It was a mother wound. It was something, yes, how they thought about themselves, how they thought about others, trusting women, not trusting women, particularly in a group process, women who have been unmothered. And so therefore you don't, you're not used to feedback or being seen and being safe to be seen, because most of us are judging one another, and we're judging other women, especially if you come from a family where that has not been safe. I have to say, I grew up around divas, matriarchs. They ran the family, baby. Honey, they were fine. They knew how to go to work, come home, change their clothes, and put on a pair of heels and be gone out on the town, and the family would still run. So, but at the same time, I saw many of them be single most of their life, not have a man in their life. Um, I saw many of them who, my mother was married, but a lot of her contemporaries were not married. So I saw the duplicitousness of navigating being a powerful woman who held your own, but craving companionship. And then I saw how bossy they were later on. They didn't know how to relate to men because they were raising men and telling men what to do. And they would tell other men what to do. I mean, if we just keep it practical about what did we see in our families, I think that's a good place to start. What did you see? Because the woman who had her mother as a model, she's not really needing to be in a conversation like this. She may want to come in and really work on something else, but the first steps is looking at right, looking around you and looking at what shaped you. I think that's where it begins, because if your mother was unhealthy, 9 times out of 10, even if you grew up saying I don't want to be like her, that journey of realizing how much like her you are is the one that we resist the most.
Be running in the opposite direction. So all of this brings me to rites of passage, because I had in my notes, I wanted to ask, like, what was the, why is this a necessity? I mean, I know why it's a necessity for me personally, but
Right.
I think what you just said is the reason. And I do want you to explain and share and talk about what rites of passage is for those of us who it's a totally unfamiliar concept. But what I gather from from what you shared so far is, I'm gonna put it in my own language.
Okay, sure.
If you was raised by wolves like me and you don't have no home training when it comes to being a woman, because I got home training in terms of manners and how to be, those types of things, I know how to act, but I was not trained on embracing my femininity. I was led to believe that I need to make sure that I can take care of myself. I need to make sure that I can, I'm never put in a position where I have to depend on anybody. That is what most of us were raised to believe. So what do you feel, and I guess maybe based on some of the experiences that you have, what is the impact of going through that process, especially for women who kind of missed out on the ushering into womanhood in a healthy way?
So I think for me, I want to use my personal story to really talk about impact. We are naturally tribal as women. We learn from each other. There's a belly to belly connection between a woman, because the girls learn by watching their mother. It doesn't matter what she says. She's paying attention and absorbing to her mother. Period. And for me, I had a very turbulent childhood, because after my mother and father divorced, it took my mom a while to recalibrate. And I looked just like my father. And sometimes I would get the brunt of looking like my father, acting like my father, thinking like my father. And because I got the brunt of that, I think that caused me to want to find home somewhere. And so it began with finding home in God. God, I got caught in the God trap. And some of us get caught in the God trap. I don't mean to offend anybody in what I mean, but many of us are using that as an escape. And so I, for me, I say this to everybody, right? I came from the kind of family where I would have been something had I not done this. I would have done something, but I was going through a more traditional route, like many of us. Meaning, in other words, I come from a family where you go to college, you get an education, you purchase a house, you get like all of the regular American dream. I would have been regular.
The cookie cutter.
I would have been regular.
And who wants to do that?
It's a lot of people who want to be regular in the world. So when I went to college, y'all can talk to me in the comments, y'all. Hearing somebody talking first about God, like, you want to be regular way, and it pricked my consciousness, and I was like, I want to hear more about that. So then I went through into, I ended up joining the Nation of Islam. Short story, right? But I did grow up bilingual because half of my family was Catholic, half of my family was Baptist. So I would navigate through that. So being bilingual helps. If you grow up in a real rigid structure, that's all you know. And so what happened is I got married at 19. And that was my family pattern in play, but I didn't know it because my mother believed in having you a man, honey. And so I got me one, good one. But in that marriage, I was a kept woman. It's funny that this was born from a well-kept woman because I know what it is to be a well-kept woman. I had a good, I was gifted all the fine gifts and cars and houses. I didn't have to work. We had businesses, and I was young, but nobody had cultivated the woman in me, and I ran into jealousy, Koereyelle, from other women 3 times my age because I had more than them. But I also had inside of me something that was a fire that was like, leadership and that type of thing. So I really didn't have anywhere to go. So I remember, like, because I'm a Gemini, I'm going to go seek knowledge. I went to the bookstore and I was just trying to find who could speak to the woman. I didn't want to read nothing else about no history and slavery. That was not helping me. I didn't, all the white women, I didn't want to hear it straight up. I'm sorry if there's any of others who are watching. I did it. And so I went to the bookstore looking, and that's how I found a young one. Well, the first time, but I put the book down because my religious mind thought, I better not touch this stuff. I didn't know the word witchcraft like talking about. I didn't even have that reference. So then the sister comes to the mosque and she had a young's book. And I said, I'm drawn to it again. And I'm looking at her with judgment eyes, like some of you probably would have done had you not been in well-kept woman. Long story short, the third time was the charm because the book spoke to everything it opened up something in me. So I started going through, reading everything, digesting everything I could. That was kind of my rites of passage. And some of us think that we have a rites of passage by just reading something. That was not enough. Life continued to happen. I continued to grow. As I read these things, I started to ask myself the questions in these books. But when I had the experience, when I went to go do work with her, she asked me questions that that I could not have gotten asked in just reading a book. I couldn't have been challenged. The process opened me up, Koereyelle, to see women like me. And then let's say, again, long story short, I was hooked. I was like all in. I felt like I had my calling to my work. But in that work, there was this one sister that I was drawn to. And she represented this freedom, this multifacetedness, right? She was fine and she moved a certain way. And I just loved it. And she taught a training called hoe training. And I needed it. But the hoe meant holy one. But she still was teaching some hoe skills. So that was what opened me up to really integrating the spiritual and the feminine. And it stayed with me because I didn't even know my own dress size fully. I was that deep in that I was covered up most in my journey in the nation. I was modest. I was following all the rules. And then it was another woman who said, "Come here, baby. Let me show you something. You're not that big. You have this kind of shape. Put this on, take that off. Put this on, take that off." Another woman escorted me, not my mother. That was a rites of passage. We go on and on. In corporate America, I'm working in corporate America. Another woman, she would walk in. She ran the whole department. And she took me under her wing in corporate America and showed me how to show up in the room. Another rites of passage. So the rites of passage is not just someone putting together a program, but many of us don't know how to even experience that. We're supposed to have rites of passage. The Jews have it. Now I cannot remember the name of what the girls and if you know it, put it in the chat. The boys have a bat mitzvah. Most of
It's
us know
bar. It's bar mitzvah for girls.
bar mitzvah. That's right.
Bar
Okay.
and bat. Bar and bat.
They learned that from us. We forgot all of our ancient rites. This is the last thing I'll tell you. So fast forward. Now I've been married twice. I'm getting ready to go through a divorce. I have buyer's remorse about a marriage that I got into, knowing damn well I should not have done it, but it was easy, it was safe. And my best friend said, "Come go with me." And we began a journey of learning the feminine arts, but they were in the room with women who did not look like me. And then they will put on the camera different slideshows. Guess what they were referencing? All of the goddesses that look like us. I got pissed off. I had to get up and leave the room because I knew that this was appropriation. This was cultural appropriation. This was culture vulturism in another form. But baby, they were working those tools, and those tools worked. And I vowed that I was going to bring this and return the hearts of the daughters back to the mother, because everybody else knows who we are and we don't know who we are. Everybody around the world, I haven't lived in America. I mean, I have lived outside of America. When you go outside of America, the Marys look like you. The shrines, they look like you. But you worship in something that doesn't even look like you. Why is that? And those are the lies that we've been told. And only through rites of passage are you able to awaken that part of that, even your dormant little girl. The little girl should have been ushered by other women into the next phase of womanhood. When you get pregnant, you have a baby shower, but women are supposed to usher you through that. When you have experienced other milestones, your period, women are supposed to usher you through that. It's supposed to be a celebration, a ceremony, rites.
I'm getting uncomfortable, Auntie. We're gonna have to you hitting a hit dog is about to start hollering. Okay.
All of feeling. What are you feeling?
I'm feeling triggered. I'm feeling like
Talk about this so that your sisters can know that how to talk through it. Tell them.
I mean, everything that you just said is literally like I don't know if it's the root of my mother wound, but I wasn't ushered into any of that. I was tossed in and fell on my face and tried to and had to pick myself up and figure it out.
You
So
had to figure it out.
that's why in my asking the question, I could understand why someone like me would need, if you got this mama trauma, I could see the need for, ushering into womanhood. But now with this explanation, I now see why every woman needs to be ushered into motherhood, because I can for sure, I know what it's like to not be. I know what it felt like to birth a baby and my mama act like she what, like act like you gonna figure it out. You good, you got it. Like I know that feeling. I can feel it still right now. So
Mhm.
I understand personally the need, but now I definitely understand the need for all of us if you missed out on that. Because to your point, it doesn't have to be this process where you go through your church, like the Jewish community does, or even like quinceañeras. It doesn't necessarily have to be
Right.
that, but
Mhm.
it should be something, and even taking it a step further, when you mention, well, the woman in corporate America and the woman at the mosque and these women, you and I have even had this conversation about how the mother wound and some other childhood issues could even keep you from being able to form those connections with other women based on
Absolutely.
your connection or lack thereof with your mother. So
Mhm.
all of this is triggering for me, Auntie. All of this is right at my doorstep. Okay. So this is where I want to go though. I want to talk about the not necessarily the solution, but what you have created, this experience, and not necessarily a program, but just environment this environment that you've been able to cultivate that makes women feel comfortable to show up, but then also starts the process. So talk a
Mhm.
little bit about the real work that you do.
So, I consider the work that I do feminine soul retrieval. And I call it other names because I present it in three levels. One is a digestible level to be able to introduce you to the levels of abundance that's in you, because many of us feel lack at some area. That lack will multiply and show up in our lives in other areas. So that's the fab factor. That's 7 days. You come in, you get an introduction to it. If you and you get to see what your formula is, where you are strong, what and where you need support. And then after, if you say I want to continue, then you get 30 days, level two. 30 days of understanding, how do I, now that I know that there's something, these things are in me, now how do I use it, how do I tap into it? Well, that's 30 days of activities and exercises that just easy, you just incorporate them into your day, and then you experience, you take that experience further, with the support that I offer. And then there's the rites of passage. That's level three. That's when, like, I'm all in. Now I'm ready to redefine my womanhood, my motherhood, my matehood, all of that. I want to redefine that on my own terms. And I want to use my blueprint. I want to use the details about when I was born, what, all of these things that are unique to me, and incorporate it into my vision. Most women who go through these three levels with me don't have to ever invest in a personal coach. You might need a business coach, you might need a marketing coach, but you don't have to do that over and over, unless we're talking about something with you in the marketplace. We may mastermind. But this program allows women to give birth to themselves at levels. And
So, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no,
Go
no,
ahead. I
go,
didn't mean to cut
no,
you off.
no.
Where does, not necessarily where does plant medicine come in, but what is the value that it brings to this process or other kind of soul searching on this journey? Like, where does plant medicine come in? Because we spent so much time talking about the plant medicine that we didn't really talk about the need, the point of it, like the purpose. We just talked about the experience of it, but why, what part does that play?
Well, I now incorporate the plant medicine into the rites of passage process, because plant medicine gives you a quantum leap beyond the calcified parts of your womanhood, and that begins in your brain, your pineal brain. So most of us have fixed and become hardened. And this is the way I see it. And this is the way it is. Well, plant medicine works with you to open you to see beyond the veil, to see into yourself, to see your spirit guides. To it really softens you. It really just opens you to really a total experience of God beyond anybody's scriptures, but beyond any of that. Most people say they meet God and you get instructions or you see something. And sometimes you can heal sometimes you may need a series of medicine, and different types of medicine call you, but it's necessary because we have internalized so much in order to be in this westernized world. But plant medicine, again, is not just the psychedelic experience or tripping and all of that. It's not that. Plant medicine is also knowing how you can you many. I know y'all watch the folks on TikTok quick playing. You see people blowing cinnamon into their house at the first of the month, but so you can put it on your sweet potatoes, but you can also sprinkle it on your doorstep. So plant medicine is knowing what these herbs are for. We're supposed to have a relationship with nature. That's a part of when we talk about mother nature and your mother nature. There is communication and codes in those plants. That's where all pharmaceuticals come from. They come from plants, but they are that's another conversation. So there's levels even to plant medicine, but many of us, it begins in our kitchen, and then you use it for more. And so it's necessary to reconnect us to the cosmos, right? To connect us to our real body, because this is a meat suit. But we all have more. We have chakras out. We have chakras in our body, but we have chakras outside of our body. But if these chakras are blocked, you can't get to the ones outside that give you information that shifts the atmosphere, that pulls down strongholds. Y'all know the Bible language? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that Bible language is coded language. And so you're the code. You're the code. And so that those chakras, if they're blocked, the plant medicine helps to unblock those chakras and to open you up so that your kundalini energy can rise. That's why you see in medicine there's two snakes around that pole. That represents kundalini energy. Those snakes represent kundalini energy. But when other people practice it, it becomes snake medicine, false medicine. But when you use it for what it really is, it's so that it can unblock your chakras, because the Kundalini coils up and that's what heals you. It takes you, Kundalini represents healing. So many of us have blocked chakras, and that's what creates dis-ease. That's why we have fibroids, because fibroids represents unbirthed visions. Fibroids represent aborted desires, dreams deferred. Fibroids also can be the things that you're holding on, anger with men, issues with men, and not just any men around you immediately. It could be a bloodline contract where the women are warring with men. And so we carry things like fibroids, endometriosis. Uh, 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 um, we have the highest rate of breast cancer because many of us are unnurtured. We're nurturing everybody else instead of ourselves. I just talked to somebody in our community that that just got diagnosed with breast cancer, and she's a giver, and she gives and takes care of everybody else. And even today, she had cancer in her body, and her family was calling her to take care of other people. And I said, "Do they know you have cancer?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Well, this is your test, because you have to put you first." So when we talk about healing and becoming vegan and all of that, but do you heal the core issue? Because every illness has a metaphysical cause, a mental cause. Every illness. Cancer is rage, red, hot, seething rage in your body. Should I go on? Because each one of them have a message. I could give the women that are watching right now to make a list of 5 things that they're experiencing. It could be anything from severe menstrual cramps to migraines every month, even the way we go through menopause. It's a message, it's a calling, but we're numb. We're turned off from being able to pay attention to the signals that life is giving us around us.
because we're distracted
Yeah, we're definitely distracted.
intentionally.
Mm-hmm.
Intentionally, it's intentional. And when you mentioned, I didn't know about the snake in the symbol, but when
Okay.
you mentioned Kundalini, let you mention that to some church folks. They're gonna call you the devil. They're gonna start talking about it's demonic. When you start mentioning, meditation and raising your energy and opening up your chakras, and if you mention the word Kundalini, they like, oh no, sis, you going to hell. Which takes me back to what you originally said, which was everything that we've been taught is a lie. We
Yeah.
have literally been taught a lie, so that because if we learn the truth will teach us our power. The truth will teach us who we are. And if we know who we are, we will know what we're capable of. And if we knew what we are capable of, baby, this whole thing would come crumbling down. Y'all
Well,
want
it
to
is
scream about them
crumbling
90,
down right now. It's
but
crumbling
baby,
right
it's crumbling right now, but we still
now.
ain't on. We still
No, we're
ain't.
not. But check this out. Somebody said this is the best way to sum it up. Think about this from the religious perspective. If Mary is the mother of God, what does that make her? I'll wait. If Mary's the mother of God, what does that make her?
The goddess.
Got to be God to birth God.
Well, yeah. Yeah. That has been in the conversations that I've had, Auntie, when people are like, I started to question religion because that has been a common thing of like the feminine is completely left out. And that logically does not make sense. It logically does not make sense. And that is a point where people will start to be like, let me start asking some questions. But we still don't center ourselves in that conversation because we are still like chain gang to religion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So for somebody who is watching this right now, or listening to it and is interested, but they still a little scared because the indoctrination is strong. It is deep. It is deep when we start talking about the Black church. It is deep when we start talking about potentially going to hell. It is deep. So is the first step, okay, come on and join this 7-day and I'm gonna help you get on out of that? Or like, do they need to do a step before they come to you? Because I mentioned this, my experience, I needed to start square one. And I think I jumped to like a 10 that was like, oh, not too much. So I got to take a few steps back. So do they need to do something before they even come to your door, or should they, come on into the
This is
7-day?
the beginning. I mean, to actually have an experience. It's priced for you just to see, and not feel any loss. You can't lose with the stuff I use anyway. even if you say, oh well, okay, that's enough for me now, I got to digest this. It depends. The Bible says that there's 3 types of ground that things fall on. If you are not fertile ground, then you might have to do some repotting. You got to change. If you're sandy, it's not going to plant. If you're hard, it's not, seeds not going to grow. So that's up to you. I used to be attached to all of that. It's a calling. The woman who is saying, yes, I want to know more, it's because she is having a feminine soul call. Everybody is not called to it. They will come, but they're more followers when it's trendy, when it's acceptable. And there's nothing wrong with that woman. No judgment, but it's a special kind of woman that is the first responder. And the first responder oftentimes is the black sheep like you, that's triggered like you. That one who is reaching out to other women, trying to serve, because the in her heart is, well, I don't want anybody to go through what I went through. But have you went through it, or are you just trading trauma bonding? trauma bonding, because there's enough podcasts out here trauma bonding, not really doing the work. And it's a special kind of work, and there are women all over the world who are doing it. But it's also a special kind of play, it's a special kind of art, it's a special kind of science. And so it's a great way to invest in yourself. So start at level 1. Now if you want to do only the private coaching, then I do that there, but those women, they pay my rates to have private counsel, to go through a private rites of passage or a VIP weekend. But it's not going to be a VIP weekend. It's not going to be rites of passage. There's something magical that happens when women come together. We form a womb and you are born again. And this is why women return to rites of passage even when they complete it, because they want to rebirth something else. They want to, oh, okay, I see this in myself. Let me tell you this. There have been women who've come in with severe mother wounds. They've worked with me. They were able to heal those mother wounds. I've had at least 3 women, at least 3, men, could be more, who have come in to do this work at the right time before their mother left this earth. And they've come back to me to say, had I not done that work, I would not have been able to handle the transition of my mother. And literally got free. I have had women so traditional. I'm talking about ministers. One woman thought she was free just because she had left the church and she was doing something else. And I said, girl, you ain't free. It slipped out my mouth. I didn't even, I just said it. And she said, but that was the best thing that could have. She was picking me up from the airport for a gig. And she just telling me how, oh yeah, I don't do that church stuff no more. But I do. And I said, girl, you ain't free. You just ain't in the church.
You just in another jail. You went to another jail. Switched it out. That's what a lot of us do, because we don't have an alternative. It's like, okay, well, I left this. Well, let me go to the next thing that I know. And most of us don't even know that this is an option, because it's literally been taken from us and turned into something evil, demonic, and literally we've been brainwashed. And so until we can get Auntie to come and show us the light and usher us in, because people, it's one thing when you've been through it, like your life experience is what gives us the permission. You give us permission based on your freedom. I can see you're free, so maybe I can have some of that too. It's like, I don't know if Harriet Tubman actually said this, but they love saying how Harriet Tubman said, she could have freed so many more slaves if they knew that they were slaves. It's like, if you don't even know that there's another alternative, you're never going to get there, because you don't even know that it exists.
And that kind of woman is dangerous to other women. And believe it or not, that they fall in the probably about the 75 percentile of the population. And this is why we have so much breakdown in sister communities, in our own families, because when they don't know what they don't know. But and that's intentional too. That's why a part of the thing that I'm also doing in the community is genealogy, because this is somewhere in your line there was a woman who knew, and that's who you have to call on. We get so myopic and focus on our mother, her flaws. But if you have a spiritual relationship with your divine self, you can call on the mothers beyond her, because those mothers on the other side will help you, because they were the ones who prayed for you to remember, to awaken. Many people under the sound of my voice watching this were the ones who were called to remember.
Okay, I got a personal question. Because I am having a hard time. I'm having a hard time disconnecting, I think, my logic from like spirit. So help me with this. If I have a history, like my lineage is full of this mother wound, how do I call on my grandmother to help me when she was a part of the problem?
You call beyond her, and you keep calling beyond her, and then you keep calling beyond her, And you don't have to know their name, but your words have power because your throat chakra is a power source. And I teach you this. And there in the beginning was the word. Here's another knock. In the beginning was the word, and the word was with who? God. So what? We waiting on a God up there? The beginning was the word. So I got to speak a thing that is not as though it shall be. In the beginning was the word. What beginning? The beginning in the moment that you say that I'm ready. I say yes. I'm the one. But as long as you keep on focusing on the flaws, you will recreate it. Because the universal law, see, I'm a metaphysician, so I'm teaching you the metaphysics of womanhood. So if you're a metaphysician, then the universal law of attraction says that what I focus on grows. So if I'm focused on my mama is effed up, my grandmama wasn't much better, and I don't know what happened with her mama. Okay, well now you just fed it. There's a difference between focusing on the toxicity and acknowledging it. Because we're not saying be in denial, but acknowledge it. Acknowledgement requires action. Awareness does not require any action. There are plenty of people who are aware and do not a damn thing about it, but be aware. But when you acknowledge, I know this is in my bloodline. The next step is that you got to take a step. That's what I provide, is the next step that you want to take. If you want to take the level 2, then that's the next step. And then if you want to go to level 3 then that's the next step. But guess what? After you finish rites of passage, there's gonna be a next step too. But that next step is gonna be the one that not only that you've acknowledged, but you've embraced.
Deep breath. Auntie, for the people who need, like me, who needs at least step 1, dip your toe in the pond. How can we do that? How can we be a part of the process? Because baby, the world is on fire. And if we ain't never had, the country is on fire. And if we ain't never had inspiration to get ourselves together and get some things in order, now it's time for us to go ahead and do that. So how you gonna usher us on up out of this?
Come to the fab factor. Come to the fab factor. Fab represents the feminine abundance basics, so that you can shift all levels of lack consciousness related to your womanhood. But it also translates to some practical accounts. I don't want to give too, sometimes I give too much away.
Don't give too much, Auntie. They gotta come.
So some of us know how to be power players, right? Because I do appeal to mostly executive women at this point. And we may know certain moves to make, but we don't know how it fits in the spiritual
we don't know how it translates. We don't know how to code switch.
Yeah, I'm trying to use some practical language so people don't say, "Oh, that's so woo-woo," right? The cosmology of womanhood, or a lineage of womanhood, right? And we have certain secrets that we can use within us that's right in our face. So the first level allows you to say, "Oh, damn." Just like we just had this conversation, I did not see that. And now you can say, okay, now I want to take this further. So come to the fab factor. 7 days, only 7 days. You get pretty much a module to guide you for that particular day, and then you will come live with me. But this particular edition, because whenever I'm teaching it live, it always has a theme. This theme is going to be on learning how to receive, and we're going to do a whole special orientation around the yoni egg first. Your orientation will be the magic of the yoni egg. And I love the teaching that one. That we're gonna have so much fun in the orientation.
Woo, don't scare them away with the young egg. And by them, I mean me. Okay. Wow. So we need to get in where we fit in with the fab factor. How can we do it? Let's see. She said this is so good. I truly love being in the room. Thank you. So the fab factor. How can well, you want to share it with me and then I'll send it? Or is it like
Yeah.
an easy link that you could just say and people can go to it? Or do I need to like send it to them?
I can, yes, you can go to my link. It's all everything. Anytime y'all talking about how can you get to her, get to her just like how you get to you. A link in your bio. I hope you got a link in your bio.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Not
So
you,
wait,
but I
I'm
mean,
on I'm on it. I had it pulled up.
I was
Uh,
gonna drop it in the chat, so I'm gonna put it
okay,
in the
that's perfect.
private chat so you can get it.
That's perfect.
And but you can always go to rebirthwithlatanya.info. Rebirthwithlatanya.info. You can find everything that you need with me on rebirthwithlatanya.info, or you can go to the Linktree link in all of my social media profiles for readings, private coaching. But for this program, it's called The Fab Factor, the Feminine Abundance Factor, 7 days of unlocking abundance codes that apply specifically to your womanhood. And during this season and this time, we do need to make some money moves. So there's also 7 accounts, and why those 7 accounts are important for us to be in our vision planning. Otherwise, we're hustling backwards. If we don't
I
have
was
7 accounts, we're hustling backwards.
I was going to mention that because we have not talked about money. This conversation was not necessarily supposed to be about money, but I wanted you to drive home the point that all of this is going to tie back to your money. For the people who are like, girl, I don't have time for this. I'm in my hustle mode. Your mother issues, your lack of divine feminine, like any of this stuff could be messing up your money too.
Well, that's why I created it, because what happened is a lot of people would jump right into the rites of passage waters. And then when they came out of the rites of passage waters, they would be hit with life, and or certain things that I ended up having to do special trainings on, because people didn't necessarily know. And it's a process, it's a journey. It's not like you finish in 7 days, or you finish the rites of passage, which is 6 months, and it's monthly. It's not like 6 months of it. It's designed for the busy woman, for the executive woman, so that all of that. But you now, how do I integrate it? How do I live it? How do I apply it in my house, in my body, in my vision for my family? How do I step into feminine leadership? So that's what this is. And listen, this is what I want to say. There are a lot of women who are doing feel good programs. And that for a minute, I was doing a feel good program. But the reason why I created these levels is because of life happening. What happens when the feel good runs out? Because feel good it's not going to always feel good, but you can still be juicy. You can still be attractive. You can still be magnetic. You can still lead. You can still position yourself to prosper in other areas of your life, even when it doesn't feel good. So how do you handle your life when it doesn't feel good, when you're not orgasmic, when you don't have a partner, or when you have a partner and you hit a snag? There's a whole piece that I teach in the rites of passage called manhood training. How do you handle a man? How do you do it? I need to improve on it at times. And here's the other thing I want to tell you. If anybody comes in front of you and acts like they have it all together, that's probably why I'm auntie. Because when the mama won't tell you the truth, auntie usually will. And I don't have it all together. I'm still learning, messing up, evolving, elevating in my priesthood. I'm a priest. I'm a priestess. And so with that comes responsibility. What I believe that this first level opens up is, how can you become the priestess of your own household? Because that becomes a responsibility. How can you lead your household from a magical, alchemical, holistic place, and shift the atmosphere in your bloodline?
So if you are the chosen one, okay, Neo,
That
I'm
part.
calling on all Neos. I'm calling you to the front. And baby, if you are her, you already know it. Okay. These holidays probably highlighted who you are. Okay. You are probably really sitting in being othered right now in this.
Ooh, that's
And
good, Koereyelle.
I'm speaking from for myself. So but it's the what I love about you, Auntie, and what I love about anytime we have these conversations, it brings out the others. And it makes me feel like, okay, it's not just me. And that being seen, being understood, being acknowledged. For a lot of us, this is the first time. And
It's
so
true.
that is what I think is just so beautiful about what you do is, and it's not even necessarily like you doing it, it's how the universal law works. Like attracts like. So you are naturally going to attract these women when they are ready to do the work. And so I love you for that.
And I love you. You know why I love you?
Why?
I want to tell you something that I couldn't. I don't know if I said this in. I don't know if I've ever said this to you, and I feel a little emotional saying it, but I've thought it many times. You know, it touches my spirit that you call me auntie, and you really meant it, and you mean it. I don't have any biological children. It was plant medicine that I met the mother, and she told me, you don't have any bio children in this lifetime because you completed that assignment many lifetimes ago. She said, I called you to the women so that I could mother other women to mother other women. So when you acknowledge something in me, you're confirming what the divine mother called me to. And so I don't take it lightly when you call me auntie. I don't play with that. And so you are confirmation of the work that God has called me to the earth to do. And so I take that means a lot to me, for not just you, but any of the other young ladies who and some of them is straight up mama, right? So um I want you to know that. And I see the anointing on you. May not see it, and I call it an anointing, but it is a feminine soul call. You would not be this passionate, you would not be this vocal to be a voice in your generation. And I love that about you.
Thank you, Auntie. I need it. I'm needed. I'm ready. I feel like the ground is fertile. The soil is fertile. Now it was a little hard. I was on some rocks last fall, but I'm ready to move forward. And I am honored that I could even introduce this conversation to other women because this was not my intention. And I told you that. I did not set out to have that conversation that we had, which is why I just let it go because I'm like, this is nothing but God. Who am I to try to take back, the wheel? And so I just feel honored to be a vessel for whatever this is, whatever
Yeah.
it is, even if it's just an introduction, even if it just sparks an inspiration in somebody to go pick up a book or go, do some soul searching. I am just honored to be here. And I'm gonna be in that 7 day and then the 30 day and then the 6 month because I'm ready to get my ish together. I'm not gonna be back in this same spot next year. Like it is truly, this is my 40th year. I mean, not yet, not till October, but this is my 40th year. So
Yeah.
it's time.
Well, listen, when are we gonna get to those questions that the sisters asked?
We are getting, so they're gonna have to tune in. We're gonna do the questions. We're gonna
Oh
do
yeah. Oh,
that.
we're gonna do it in okay, cool.
Yes, we're gonna do it as a series because I didn't want everybody to be a part of this. This was like private invite only, but those questions are like questions that the general public can benefit from. So we're gonna
Okay.
save those. They're gonna have to come in and tap in with those conversations. But this was just intimate. This was just, if you know, you
Okay.
know. If
Well, they
you
better
in,
get
you
in
in.
and get the enrollment done because I have a special price for this group. It's
Mhm.
197.
Yep.
It's regularly 297. So that's crumbs because I know y'all spend that at dinner. Okay.
Facts. Facts.
Your
Yeah.
purse costs more than 197. Some
Mhm.
of you, your shoes, your red bottoms. But if you got red bottoms and a black heart, come make this investment and see
I
if
think
it
I would
won't.
just hit end. Now we need to end on that one. Red bottoms, black heart. I need to just press end and drop them. That was it. Don't say nothing else, Auntie. Don't say nothing else. Don't say nothing else. Because the hit dog is about to holler. And on this one, I'm not the hit dog on that one. That's it. That's it. Because looking apart, it's not gonna last long. Okay, it is not gonna last long. So let me ask you this, Auntie, before we get out of here. Can I share the link? Can I share that link? I didn't want to share this conversation, but I would love to invite people. So let me know when the early bird special pricing is over with, and then I can share it.
I'll extend it for about. Let me see. What's today? I'll extend it for 48 hours.
But do you want me to send that out to other people?
Yes.
Okay. So I will do that then. I just didn't want them to come to this because I didn't know what we was gonna be talking about. But I love you. You know I love you. I need to see you in real life. So
I am gonna see you, but I want to see the boys too.
Okay, I was gonna say I'm gonna see you soon, but they won't be there then. So we will have to get together prior to that. My life is much more flexible now, so I'll text you offline. But I love you so much. Thank you, Auntie. I'm gonna send you this in case you want to chop it and repurpose it or do whatever. And then I'll also share it too. And I'll probably put it on the podcast. I'll probably cut it up a little bit and put it on the pod as well. Because this is a powerful conversation. And again, I feel like the people are open to it now, hopefully.
I think we're very open. That what happened in your event was right after Pluto went into Aquarius, and that's the kind of season that we're in. We're also, this year is going to be a quantum season. Watch what you say. Watch what how quick things manifest. So it is really for those of you who are Bible thumpers.
Yes, it's virtual.
Unto
I'm going to
you
answer
as you
in a minute.
believe. You get to be right, even if it's wrong. You get to be right about it being wrong. You get to be right about it being hard. You get to be right unto you as you believe. So change your beliefs, change your manifestations.
Oh, another mic drop. Auntie, I love you. I'm gonna drop the mic on that one right there for real. For real on that one. Rebirth with Latanya on Instagram. I'm about to send y'all this replay in case you missed any part of it. You want to go back because it was so good. Join the 7-day. I will be there. Get in where you fit in. And I love y'all.
And we start on the 19th.
All right, y'all. That's it.
I'm ending this, and I hope you enjoyed the conversation. I saw some questions. First of all, let me answer a few of the questions. That session is over. We just completed a beautiful session that started on the 19th and ended this past Sunday. And then it's going to be up to Dana. If Dana's still in the chat, if we open up another one for March, if you are interested in getting into 30-day rites of passage, you would have to do the next one in March in order to be a part of rites of passage. Is it virtual? Yes, women attend from all over the world, have attended from all over the world, and on different coasts. So yes, it is available. It is digital, and it is also an all digital version that's available for you to take. When I don't do it live, it's available for you to do it self-paced for 7 days DIY with some support. This year, we're going to still have it self-paced with the check-ins, because Minister Dana Beasley is going to be the midwife that walks us through beginning in next month. Of course, I will make some appearances to support. Okay, yeah, Dr. Tina is there. She says she did it in Africa. She sure did. Dr. Tina is going all the way to rites of passage, honey, so that she can be a part of Team Rebirth. Okay. So Dana, if you're watching, we got to set a new date for it, because the sisters are calling for a new date. Is there something you can join now? Yes. Join the Feminine Leadership Lab. We are doing the mothership prayers on Wednesday morning, absolutely free. You can join us on Sundays, first Sundays, where we are dedicating this entire year to inheritance, the return of the matriarchy. If you become a partner with Rebirth International Ministries, you will automatically get the genealogy. So yes, you can begin where you are. And guess, Freemium gets you the level of what you put in. If you just want to stay at the free level, then you get what you get at the free level. But when you want to see a return on your investment in your own life, then you're going to have to put some skin in the game. And so, yes, can you start coming to the Feminine Leadership Lab, the Feminine Sanctuary? I call it Rebirth International Ministries, where I am devoted to turning the hearts of the daughters back to the mother, the what mother, the divine and sacred mother. This is not about you having to excuse abuse, any type of trauma. That is not what we're doing. We're not just doing Pollyanna goddess worship and all of that. That's not what we're doing. This is feminine soul retrieval. The work that we're doing. You may not be ready for that, but you can come in and learn how to pray. You can come in and get some inspiration. You can come in on Sundays, on the first Sunday of the month, if you need to have a community. So yes, the answer is yes. Those are some of the questions that came in on Instagram. Where can you find it? Always, I know sometimes we ask that question because we want to show the interest, but if you're dealing with a real professional, they're going to have a link in the bio. What bio? Under the profile. But you can see here, you can go to rebirthwithlatanya.info. There, I also have a link on Linktree. Oftentimes I put links in my stories. What I want to ask my sisters to do today is to subscribe. Please subscribe and get the link and send it to your girlfriends and say, girl, you got to watch this show. Girl, and I want y'all to go to lunch and debrief about this. Send it to your Fab Five. What's your Fab Five group of friends? If they're not turned on and you get turned on, guess what? They're going to turn off. Okay. Not only that, I also have some of you who are master teachers, who are experts in your field and subject matter. I'm looking for guests to be a part of our series. Send me a DM if you are a subject matter expert. So join the community. I say the Rebirth 360 is a journey of self through the self, back to the self. Which self? The bigger self, the higher self. So you begin with where you are on your She Rose journey, but come and work with us. Are there any more questions? Did I answer any of your questions? You also can, yes, you can come and get a reading. You can come and get a reading. And what a reading does is it customizes your journey. So when you get the reading, some of you have had frequency readings. I'm still trying to figure out a way to do some live free frequency readings. But that frequency reading tells you where you need to focus because your body is speaking. Your Akashic record is speaking. The blueprint reading tells you what muscle you need to strengthen because you weren't born with that muscle. You got to go and work out. You got to exercise. Or human design reading says, okay, now how do I respond to my life? So the readings are available for those of you who are saying, I want something right now. Come get a reading. And then we'll customize your journey towards rites of passage. So I enjoyed sharing. Did you all love being a butterfly on the wall? Not a fly, but a butterfly on the wall in that conversation. Thank you to all of to the juicy butterflies in the comments who showed up. Thank you to Dr. Tina in Holloway. Okay, what you say you had a North Node reading? The North Node reading was just a mini reading. The blueprint is the beginning because the truth is, when you come to rites of passage, I teach you more about blueprinting yourself. Okay. So, and shout out to IVTV and all of the people that I pray with during the week. All right. So what's up, Candace? Hey, and this is another Candace. This is not my niece Candace. Now we have a second Candace. So shout out to all of you. Sabrina, I loved your sincere comments and all of you who shared personally. Some of you OGs from Rebirth Woman, come into the new community because Facebook censors so much. I know Mark Zuckerberg is trying to change now. We gotta have our own. I ain't worried about Josephine. Y'all don't know nothing about that, huh? That's a New Orleans song. And it's Mardi Gras, y'all. It's not Mardi Gras yet. It's carnival season, but happy Mardi Gras to my family that's down there in the streets, to the Indians, to the Black Indians that are keeping the culture, to all of the queens, the big chiefs that are keeping us reminded that we are the indigenous people here. If you want to learn more about your tribe, your family, come and become a partner with Rebirth International Ministries so that I'm going to bring a genealogist on during the Shift Talk series. Let me know in the comments if you with it. Let me know if you're all in. I'm going to bring the genealogist on. She's a Black woman, PhD. She knows how to get around this stuff when we say, oh, I hit a wall, I can't find out. I just love it. So she's waiting in the wings to come on to the new series, but you got to be in the community to get the gems and do the work. Ancestry.com is not it. You got to know a little bit about the history of the Mormons who have bought all of our data. And so therefore they want to redirect your attention back to Africa when your land rights and your birth rights are right here on this land. We the people, okay? This land is our land, okay? For real, okay? So you got to know who you are and whose you are, and in order to access it. So yeah, I know about living abroad, but I'm gonna stay right here. I want my birthrights, and looks like they're loading, okay? There looks like they're loading. It looks, anybody else see what's loading? You're not scared. You're either in the Jubilee or you're in the fear-based terror conversations. I want to be in the Jubilee conversations. Hey, baby, anybody from New Orleans know about the Jubilee all? Anybody in New Orleans know about the Jubilee all? It's Jubilee for those who can see. And if you cannot see, come get you some prescriptions. All right. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. I had fun with this one. Make sure you connect with us and Rebirth 360, the whole circle. All right. Ciao. Have a good day, y'all.